All right. Hello. We're just going to do it off the cuff here. So my name's Whiep. I thought I was going to be a YouTuber in middle school, so I made a bunch of videos, and eventually that just evolved into me posting just cool stuff. Um, and one of the videos I ended up posting was a video of me figuring out how to get my Spacemouse here, which is this is a 3D, for anyone who's not familiar, this is a 3D mouse that's used for CAD drawing for controlling the camera. So it has 6 degrees of freedom, it has twist, it has up and down, it's very limited movement, left, right. So you can control, it's kind of like the idea when you're 3D modeling is you can grab it and it's kind of like you're holding the object and you can move it around. But we can use this to control things like a joystick. It's just a bit of a process. So I made this video 5 years ago, posted it on Reddit, got quite a few views, and in the description I said if enough people ask, I would post a how-to. Again, it's been 5 years. Enough people asked, and I never got around to doing the how-to. I kind of tried to help people in the comments of this video and kind of direct them in the right direction, but a lot of people didn't get back to me. So I have no idea how to do this. I've done a little bit of research before, and I haven't plugged this into my computer. I think I've wiped all the 3DConnexion software and everything. I haven't plugged this into my computer in years. So we're literally going to go from plugging into the computer to getting it working in Elite. And just to show you, I haven't played Elite since 2019, so we're just going to do it live. I'm going to try to edit out the boring and non-helpful parts, and my hope is that by doing it live, any issues I encounter would be issues that you would encounter and all that. So, and the genesis for this is that this lovely man, James here, I assume he's a guy, this lovely guy, James here, reached out to me via email asking specifically what I did to get this working because he was really struggling. And I was like, I don't even remember, but I should probably just make the tutorial. I'll probably throw this on Reddit too, just for anyone who's interested in this kind of weird thing. It's a weird crossover of CAD people and Elite Dangerous players, and people who just think it's cool and kind of pick one up secondhand. So, um, yeah, so our goal is this. I'll kind of skip to an interesting part of the video. You can kind of see in the video here, I'll make myself smaller here. You can kind of see in the video I'm using the Spacemouse to fully control the ship. So I do say I'm doing all of the movement with just the Spacemouse and using the keyboard for other things like set throttle to 0, landing gear, all that kind of stuff. So obviously I don't remember much about the game. So I'm going to stop rambling now, and I think we're just going to get into it. So I'm going to plug the Spacemouse into the computer, and we're going to see what happens here. We might have to go get drivers for it or something. All right, so my original plan kind of fell through. I was hoping to just like do it and just record me doing it and then just like cobble it into a tutorial. And after spending, an hour and something making footage of me doing that and then spending another hour or so trying to edit it into something coherent, just wasn't going to work. So what we're going to do instead is I'm going to show you how to do it now that I know how it works. So I've gone ahead and wiped everything I did away, and we're going to start from scratch here. So turn on the mouse, plug it in. So first step to get this working is wait a sec after you plug it in for it to kind of figure it out. I noticed the first time I did it when I was looking in Device Manager, there was a lot of stuff disconnecting and reconnecting. So just wait a second there. And you're going to go to the first link down in the description here to the 3DConnexion website and download their like software suite. The 3DConnexion software is great if you're using this for business, which is what it was intended to do. However, it doesn't allow you to just use the axes as joystick axes for like a video game or something. So I'm going to hide my camera now, actually. All right. So I'll put a link to 3DConnexion website. Got to get the software for that. We already went ahead and downloaded that. So what we need is these two programs in order to translate it from 3DConnexion proprietary software into a regular joystick that Windows can recognize as just game axes to use for whatever. And the way we do that is with this program called Vjoy it emulates a joystick. And then we have another program here by Mr. Lazeb here that is called SX2 Vjoy that acts as the bridge between the Spacemouse and Vjoy. So I'm going to go ahead here the Vjoy GitHub. I'm just going to grab the latest build here. And then from the xx2vjoy-test GitHub, you're going to want to go to code and just click download zip. So now that we have those three files, I'm just going to pop them out on the, well, of course it would. Because I already put it on the desktop earlier. And then we have Vjoy setup. I'll just replace that. Apparently I still have these on the desktop. Okay, so we'll start by launching the 3D mouse driver kind of installer here. If you'd like, you can go in here and click remove old user settings. If you use this software in the past, you might have a bunch of crazy stuff. It's up to you. I don't need a desktop icon. And then also you can unclick anything that you don't use here. There's no reason to install it if you're never going to use it. I'll just let all that install. Don't share my data. And that's going to give us administration confirmation there. And then we're going to hear a lot of bleeps and bloops as it installs what it needs to install here. Yeah, it's going to have you close your browser. It's going to try to get you to close programs. Just click no. I've never had an issue with that. Sorry, I'm drinking my drink here. So now that we've got the 3DConnexion software installed, we can go over here. And yeah, so now it's launching. To proceed with the certificate installation, yeah, I'm good on that. We're going to close out of this, and we have our software here. Good way to test just real quick is to go to this little demo program. We'll click 6, click start. So here's kind of the mouse working as just a regular mouse, just to make sure it works. And we'll, click all the little parts together and whatever. Is that gotta go to there? CAD stuff. So once you confirm that the mouse is working as it should, as just a 3D mouse, then we're going to go ahead and click open this settings tab, and we're just going to keep this open for now. We'll hide him down here, and we can close out of this home thing. Next thing we're going to do is go ahead and install Vjoy. So we'll run this program. It's going to give us another confirmation there. I don't know why OBS blacks out my screen whenever that happens. I gotta click over. And we'll just download all of this. Here's some more beeps as that installs. And it'll say it installed successfully, and you can just click OK. And the way we can check that is we'll just go over here and type like Joystick. And it'll say set up USB game controllers, and you just want to check to make sure that Vjoy is showing up there. And it is. Now what we have to do is go into the Windows thing here and type configure Vjoy. You can't just type Vjoy. I mean, you can, it'll show up, but configure Vjoy. It's going to give us another window that we got to confirm. And then it's going to come up with this. So what we have to do here is ensure that you have just these 6 axes selected and not these bottom 2, because they're not relevant to the Spacemouse. This will probably be enabled excuse me. This will probably be enabled Just go ahead and disable that. We're going to set the number of buttons here to the number of buttons that's actually on your Spacemouse. So I'll just show you real quick. I have a Spacemouse wireless, and so I only have these 2 buttons on the side. I'm happy to have them, but I only have 2. Some of the other ones have sort of like whole things around them with all kinds of fancy snazzy buttons, and I would assume that you can use all those. I just don't have a way to test that. And then the POV hat switch here, I threw it on 4 directions the first time around because that's what they tell you to do in the GitHub tutorial here for it. You can actually see this picture. He shows you kind of how to set it up in an older version of Vjoy. I just had to figure out how that translates over here. So go ahead and click apply once you have all these settings set up like this, obviously with your number of buttons, and things will freeze up a little bit and then it'll be good. Make sure that Vjoy is actually enabled down here. I gotta remember to turn my camera off. Make sure that Vjoy is enabled down here, and we can actually close out of this now. And so this is the last sort of step here before we launch up Elite Dangerous. We're gonna make a new folder here for this program. Sure. And that's not going to work. You know what? Folder. I still have some stuff from the first time around on my desktop, so it's being weird. Oh, we could actually just drag this out of here. All right. In here, what we're going to do, first thing is launch not the config GUI, but the actual program here. And when we do that, we'll see down here that it has connected the Spacemouse wireless to Vjoy ID 1. So ID 1, that's another thing I should mention in the config for Vjoy. So many UAC prompts. In the configurator for Vjoy, you want to make sure you're on 1. So basically what we've just done is this program doesn't have any graphic interface besides this configurator here, but we want to launch this right off the bat and make sure that it links your mouse to the first joystick in Vjoy. So now that we've launched the first program, we can open up the config GUI here. So what we're going to do here is we're going to immediately click on the new profile button, and I'm just going to type like joystick. So I haven't figured out how to do this. You can set this to have different profiles for different games if this is something that you want to be using for a lot of different stuff all the time and not just like a cool thing to try out. But what I would recommend is just set it to always active and just configure it and kind of leave it for whatever you're doing. So now that we've set that to always active, we want to come over here and you'll notice these little eye buttons in the top corner of the program. If you click on those, it'll give you all kinds of information about how the profile works. If I had read those for my first go around with this, maybe I wouldn't be recording this. But what we want to do is under assign axes here is just click that little eye button and then click OK. Uh-oh. Lets you set up which axes are linked to which axes. Okay. So don't click assigned axes. Under assigned buttons here, we're going to click, you're going to select which mouse you have. So I have the Spacemouse wireless. And then that will automatically pop up this window. And all we're going to do here is click Vjoy 1, Vjoy 2 for buttons 1 and 2. And we can just close out of this window. We don't have to click like apply or anything. So now we have our buttons configured here. Some other things I will recommend is the zero throttle at percentage, as far as I understand this, at 50% of the virtual access. Yeah, so I would recommend turning this like way down for all of these, just so that there's more like, I don't know. The Spacemouse is pretty good at centering itself, so I don't see the need for all of this to be at 50, and it seemed to still work fine for me. So this graph down here I was super confused by on the first go around. All this is showing you is the curve of your different axes. So this is kind of the response curve that it's going to take. It's going to be kind of fast at first, and then as you get towards the end, yeah, you get what I mean. Logarithmic and then exponential. So you can play around with the exact curvature of each axis kind of response here. And then you have your dead zone stuff. So where movement should be ignored, I might turn all these down to like 10%. We'll give that a shot. All right, I'm going to stop wasting time in here. We've kind of done everything we can in here. This is pretty much all configured, so I'm going to go ahead and minimize that. Actually, you could probably close out of this once we'll click show if active. There we go. So it'll show down here. And so now it is using profile joystick on the GUI. So we should be able to... I'll just minimize this. I don't know if it needs to be running, but for the purpose of this, I'll just keep it running. So now we're going to go ahead and launch the game, which will still have my bindings in it from when I did this the first time around. But we'll show you how to redo that. I can just set my controls to default. Get the game going here. Wow, that's freaking out for some reason. I'm going to go ahead and turn off that show if active button. So now that we're in the game, we'll get into the game. So the big point with the game here, and I'll go ahead and show you, is you'll see that the buttons are still opening these wheels. And that if we go into the menus here, that if I just turn on my camera real quick, that the mouse is actually scrolling like a scroll wheel when we move it forward and backward. So this tripped me up a lot the first time around. What you actually have to do there is come over here, and I gotta hide myself again. Come over here to this, make sure that you click on Elite Dangerous and then immediately on this window so it stays locked on the Elite Dangerous profile. And then what we're gonna do is come over to Advanced Settings, and we're just gonna turn off that axis. Bloop, just turn it off. And then we're gonna come over here to Buttons and disable these buttons. So what we're doing is we're basically telling the 3DConnexion software, yo, don't do anything when we're in this program, because we are using this program to get the access and button inputs off of the Spacemouse, and so we don't want this conflicting with the other program. So now it's still not working because of course it's not. We're in Elite Dangerous. Close. I did this once, I swear. Close. Advanced Settings, close. Okay, there we go. I don't know why that didn't take the first time. So now I'm moving the Spacemouse around and it's not scrolling. So to get it working for the axes, we're going to come here to Flight Rotation. Now there is a keybind that you might find useful. I believe it's Control-Alt-S that brings up this window up here, which when you move one of the axes and holds it, it will tell you what axis it is. So if you're trying to get this thing programmed in a program that doesn't let you just like move the axis, that doesn't let you just move the axis to bind the controller. Okay, got my thoughts together. If you're trying to use this in a program where you can't just move the axis to bind it, it can be useful. If you press Control-Alt-S, it will tell you which axis is which when you move them, so that you can just click which axis you want in each position. But I'll go through and quickly reprogram this with you guys. So we have a yaw axis, or turning left and right, so that's going to be twisting the knob. We have a roll axis, which is going to be controlling shift roll, so that's going to be tilting it to the right. Pitch axis is going to be tilting it forward and backwards. Then for flight thrust, lateral or left and right maneuvering, we're going to do moving the mouse left and right, not tilting it. Vertical axis is just going to be pull up and push down. And then forward and backwards is going to be push forward and pull backwards. And then I already programmed the buttons, but they work just like any other button. So I believe, where did I put it? I think it's just under miscellaneous. So I've programmed Joy 2 to be my landing gear, which is the right button, and Joy 1 to be night vision, just as an easy way to show you guys. And if I've done everything correctly, we are now 3D mousing. So like for example, right now I'm noticing that some of my axes are inverted for whatever reason. So let's go ahead and fix that. Alright, so I went ahead and figured it out. As far as like the inversion and stuff goes, just control it in here. Here's what I had to do. I had to do regular, inverted, inverted, and then just regular, regular, inverted to get that working properly. Again, this isn't like the guide on how to set it up perfectly. It's just a guide on how to get it working. I'll leave it up to you to tinker with it and figure out what you like. Yeah, thanks for watching. Hope you have some fun with this. Hope it works out for you. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments and I'll try to get back to you. Thank you.